Hey everyone, it's Saturday, February 15th, 2020. Welcome to episode 2, the second episode of the Ginger and the Beard podcast. I'm AJ, aka the Ginger,
And I'm Reese, aka The Beard.
and today, for our second episode of the show, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking about the tech we love and maybe some that we don't love. But first, we should admit something. Last week, we had a bit of a hiccup. We forgot to record the episode, Reese.
Oh no! Oh no! This is terrible.
Growing pains.
So bad at this.
It's episode 2. We're already facing growing pains. What are we
We're
going to do?
we're gonna get better. That's what we're
You
gonna
know, we're
do.
noobs. It's okay. It's okay. So
Yeah.
it's streamed live here on Twitch. So if you guys watched last week here on Twitch, but we weren't able to distribute it out to YouTube or those great podcast apps. But this week we got stuff figured out. And but first, I think maybe since we didn't record last week, we should introduce ourselves again for those that didn't get to watch last week.
I think it's a good idea. So, I'll go ahead and start off. So again, I'm
Go for it.
Reese. I'm Reese. I'm the Beard. I love playing video games. I love watching UFC. I love drinking beer. I think that's something that Mr. The Ginger here and I connected on from a start of our relationship. You know, we met through our wives. Basically, they were good
Yes.
friends, and some just connected. You know, we got together. We were like, hey, you like UFC? Oh, I like UFC. Oh, you play video
Yeah,
games?
man.
Shit, me too, bro. And we drink. Oh, come on now. That's the
The
kicker.
rest is
So
history.
absolutely.
Yes.
So how about you, bud?
The rest is history. So yeah, I'm AJ. I'm the ginger, clearly, as you can see here. My beautiful red glow. So yeah, I'm 29 years old, live out here on the East Coast of the United States with my beautiful wife and my 2 kids, 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So keep us super busy. But yeah, love gaming, love tech, love pretty much anything that has to do with tech. And like Reese said, we connected over beers and MMA and all that kind of good stuff, and just kind of hit it off right away. And then what was it? 3 weeks ago, we were like, "Hey, you like podcasts? I like podcasts. We just start a podcast. It'd
Why
be
not?
fun."
Why not? Just
Yeah.
talk about
So
stuff that we like.
yeah, absolutely, man. So here we
We
are.
also we're
So
also dog lovers. We both have 2
oh,
dogs.
true. So true.
Roof
We
roof.
do have 2 dogs. I keep forgetting you have a second dog now.
I know. She's so small. I got a 4-month-old
Yeah,
little puppy. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe
sweet
we
little
do a
dogs.
podcast about dogs one day.
We should bring our dogs.
Yeah, we
Guest host.
Excuse me, little
um,
dog. What is your favorite snack? And roof. Oh, you like
oh, man,
treats? Okay, very good.
my dogs are so chill. They would just stare at us and be like, "What are you talking about, man? Just leave us out of this."
Yeah, my dogs.
Um,
I got the Spaz and the Barker.
yeah.
So,
So yesterday was Valentine's Day, Reese.
my God,
Did you do anything special? You
I
and your lady?
I forgot. Wait, yesterday was
Oh
Valentine's.
no.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, we did. We went to a brewery and there was a comedy night there. So we went with
Oh,
a group of folks and knew about it beforehand. It was like $25 a head to get in there, and so we drank some beer for sure,
oh,
and laughed. We laughed a bit. It was pretty good. Not the best quality, but for $25 a head in the inside of a brewery, what do you expect? I had a good time though. How about you?
nice, very nice. Well, truth be told, we did no celebrating yet yesterday, but the kids got my wife some flowers, and I made her this cool little thing on a laser cutter that we have, which I'm actually going to talk about later in the show.
Nice.
A little picture frame for our office, but actually we're both off on Monday, President's Day, so we're
Sweet.
going to get some celebrating in on that day when the kids are at school, and we can spend the whole day together. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Oh, dude, that's sweet. Really exciting.
Yes, yes,
So,
yeah.
are you drinking right now?
Oh, I actually am. Yes. Maybe we
So,
should go into our first segment of what are you drinking?
yeah. What are you
All
drinking? Tell me. I want to
right.
know.
You want to hear it? You want to see it?
Let's see
Check
it.
this out. Saranac
S'mores.
S'more Porter. Dude,
Ooh.
so delicious. I got to tell you. So, before the show, we're doing some research on these beers and checking into it. I've had this beer a few times now. It's so delicious. I keep going back and buying it. It's 6.2%. It's a porter, obviously, from
Ooh.
Saranac, which is actually up in New York. But I did some research and checking out the description on their website, and I thought I should just read this off to
Okay.
our audience here. So the s'mores porter is brewed with a blend of caramel, biscuit, brown's a flavor. I guess brown's a flavor. I don't know about you, what you guys think, but I guess brown's a flavor. Roasted malts
Brown?
gives the flavors of chocolate and marshmallow. Brown, yeah, brown. What is brown a flavor? Or is it just saying it's? I don't
Is
know. I
that
don't get it. Maybe I'm
is
not
that
educated enough, I guess, in
like
beers.
brown sugar? Maybe they left
Maybe,
sugar out
maybe
of it.
brown. Maybe dude, they could have because it could be brown sugar. It actually is pretty sweet, so I could believe that.
Yeah.
But it's so good, man. It's super smooth. It's so easy to drink, and honestly, you have all these beers and especially porters that claim to taste like these different things, and but I can test this is actually it tastes like s'mores.
Tastes like a
It
s'mores.
tastes like you're eating a s'more. Yeah, we have a fire pit in our backyard, as you've seen before,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've had this many a time beside the fire pit, and it's a great pairing. And
Even
actually, it's
the
weird on their website. It's like, yeah, this is one of our spring collection, and it's still in stores right now. It's definitely not spring.
No, definitely not.
33 degrees outside,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I can't imagine drinking this in the spring. Honestly, this definitely seems like a winter beer to me or a fall
Right.
beer. Um, yeah, as you can see, nice color, super good, super
Looks like
good
motor
texture.
oil.
Oh yeah, nice and dark.
Looks
That's how I like
delicious.
it. That's how I like it.
But no, you're right,
What about
dude.
you?
Well, aren't porters? Porters are like a wintry type beer that are they're supposed to
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought.
fill you
You
up
know,
and make you feel warm inside, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Those and stouts. I mean, this summer, or not, sorry, this summer, this fall, and this winter, I kind of made a dedicated my beer shopping to porters and to stouts and things like that. I'm typically, as you
Yep.
guys know, an IPA guy. If you watched last week, obviously you saw my delicious IPA that I had.
Yep, yep.
But I gotta say, man, over this winter time, drinking these porters and stouts has been a nice little change. Super good.
Yeah, man, your taste buds change over time, so
They're
I
evolving.
I get it. I get it completely. So, I am drinking a beer by a company called Boulevard Brewing Company, and it's a bourbon barrel aged quad. So it's a Belgium
Oh,
quad, and you can see it's nice and dark and brown and caramelly, and there's not a whole lot of light they can get through, but
oh
it's
man,
not
yeah,
a
that's thick.
yeah, it's thick. Not a stout or a porter. And here I'll show you the bottle real quick. And I'm pretty sure this is like 9%. Oh
Oh, nice.
Jesus, never mind.
That's
It's
that's the.
This is 11.2% actually.
Oh
So
my,
yeah, there you have it, boys. Right
it's a good
there.
thing you had that espresso. It's a good thing you had that espresso before we started the show, Reese.
Oh yeah, that espresso got me going. It got me going up.
It got you.
This one's gonna break me down.
This is nice. It's a nice balance, actually. It's a nice
Yeah,
balance.
got to keep some balance. But,
That's
just a
right.
little bit about Boulevard. They're from Kansas City, Missouri, and they actually were founded the year that I was born. So 1989, we're the same
Oh,
age. We are the
oh,
same age,
nice.
Boulevard and I. Go way back, way back. So, yeah, a little bit about a Belgium, right? A Belgium quad. So what is it, right? So it's from Belgium. It's a Belgium style. Um, they usually have bolder flavors. Typically, you'll see doubles and triples. They're definitely not as dark as this one. They're usually like more yellow and lighter, more like fruity notes. So it's
Mm,
typically dark, rich, ruby brown, which you could see clearly with this one. Um, but yeah, rich, malty, spicy, sometimes sweet on the palate is what you're going to get a lot of times. So
spicy.
yeah, spicy, but definitely the sweetness. That's what I get most of the time, and it's like it's not like it's trying to be. It just turns out to be that way. So yeah,
Oh, man, it sounds good. And 11%. That'll get you going. That'll
not
get you
sh-
right.
not sure I'm gonna make it through the stream, buddy. Might might,
You gotta hang in there.
might be falling on
We're
the
a, qu-
floor in a couple minutes
we're
here.
yeah, we're a quarter of the way through.
Cheers.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Hey, if you guys are watching on Twitch, what are you guys drinking? Drinking anything nice? Let's
Ooh.
hear about it. We got a segment towards the end where we like to hear from you guys. So let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah,
So what do
definitely
you say,
let us
Reese?
know.
Shall we dive into our main topic in
I
spirit of Valentine's Day?
Yes, sir. I think we shall. I shall.
All
So
right,
let's talk about the tech that we love.
let's do that. Yes, absolutely. So, in spirit of Valentine's Day, as you saw in the title, the tech we love. So, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Reese and I are tech lovers. I mean, we love pretty much all kinds of tech. So, figure we talk about it. We kind of got it categorized out, and we're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit. And we're starting out with phones because we got some big news actually towards the end of the show. It's not brand new news, but it's worth talking about related to phones.
Okay.
So, figure we'll start there. You want to kick it off?
Sure. I'll talk about phones. Definitely. So I know you're an iPhone guy. There's no hiding that. And I gotta say, I used to have an iPhone, right? I had an iPhone through some of high school. Let me start off a little bit. I used to have a house phone when I was in high school. Mom, if you're watching, thanks for buying me a house phone. Everybody else was using the Razor flip phones, and I had that like big old brick of a house phone, and I had like
Yes.
the snake game on it, and oh my Jesus, But
Oh,
that's
dude.
yeah, that was really bad. But anyway, we've upgraded in our lives, and I had an iPhone for a while, but there was one day I just decided, you know what, this thing's like not getting it done for me. Like I want to have more functionality. I want to have more capabilities with my phone. And yeah, iPhone
I
does
get it.
really, really good at the things that it does, but it doesn't do a whole lot, right? So it's like, yeah, they're very secure, and you don't have to worry about anyone hacking in or doing anything crazy. But
Yep. Yep.
I want to have that full modular abilities. I want to be able to like delete stuff off of my phone, add stuff as needed, and just have that functionality. So I'm real big on that. And not to mention, I'd like to have a back button. Just
Ah.
saying. Just saying.
Oh man.
I gotta throw it out there, But you know what? Android's not all good. Okay, I'm using an Android. I'm using a Pixel 2 right now.
Yes.
I've had the Samsung phones. Honestly, when I have when my contract's up, I'm probably gonna go back to a Samsung, because the Pixel 2, yeah, they got some work to do, definitely. I will say that Duo, right? So there's Google Duo, which is basically the FaceTime
Yeah. Yeah.
of of iPhones. It's not that good.
Yeah.
iPhone's definitely got it figured out, and Duo's way behind. So, yeah, I will say that I love Androids over iPhones if I had to pick. How
Fair
about you, bud?
enough. Fair enough. Well, I mean, you say I'm an iPhone guy, but before this, we had the same phone almost. I had the big dog version, the 2XL,
Yep.
but I've been Android for way back, man. I mean, to your point, I had one iPhone, the iPhone 5, when it first came out, when it was like groundbreaking, revolutionary, whatever. It's always the greatest iPhone ever. We made the most powerful, most beautiful iPhone ever.
We are the
Well, I hope
best.
so. I hope it's the best one yet. If you made one that's worse than last year, Johnny Ive, then we have a problem.
Oh no.
Um, even though Johnny Ive's not there anymore, he's gone.
Who's
Uh,
Johnny? I don't even know Johnny Ive. Is he the CEO of
no, no, no.
Apple?
That's Tim Cook. But Johnny Ive was their like lead design or what I don't know what his actual title is, but he's the design guy. So he's the guy. If you ever watch the keynote presentations on there, talking about how their MacBooks and their iPhones are made of solid pieces of aluminium,
Oh
and he has like this
Jesus.
British accent. Oh yeah,
Oh
dude. He's
gosh.
oh man, it's like he wears the same black T-shirt in every single video, the same perfectly white background as he's talking about the product. It's amazing. But
I've probably
yeah, I
seen
had
him.
the iPhone 5. It was back when people thought the iPhone 5 was a giant phone, and now look where we're at today. I think that was like I think it was a 5-inch phone, ironically,
Yep.
but now we're up to like 6.5. So I was Android for a long time, man. I even back in the day, I've been through so many Android phones, but when I got super big into Android, I think was the Samsung Galaxy S3. And
Okay.
I think that's when everybody kind of started getting into like the rooting and the modding and stuff like that. And I was all about it, man. I rooted the S3, so I could do so much with it, install like different, I can't remember what they're called these days, but launchers and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
just full blown customization. I was super into tinkering it. I broke it a couple times and had to like figure out how to fix it. And it was a cool way to just like to learn how to like do cool stuff like that. Like it made you feel like you're like a programmer almost, even though it's not quite that complicated. But
Okay. Got to start
it was super
somewhere.
fun. Yeah, yeah. And then I traded up. I'm trying to think about some of the other phones I had. I know I had the one of the Moto G something back in the day, then the LG G3.
Do you remember the slide up one where you would like
Of
slide
what?
up like this? It was an LG, and you would like slide up and get the keyboard. Do you remember those?
I think they had some like wait. Are you talking about back in the day? They had like the LG chocolate.
Yeah, right.
You
Do you
remember that? The
remember? Do you
chocolate.
remember like the first smartphone before like they did iPhones? I can't remember if it was the chocolate or not, but it had like the little scroll wheels built into it.
Oh, you're talking about BlackBerry. Yeah,
Was it a
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry?
Yeah, had the little scroll wheel right in the
Well,
middle.
well,
Yeah.
that one had the scroll wheel in the middle. The one I'm thinking about, it looked like a Game Boy Advance almost, and it had like two
Um.
scroll wheels on each side of it. Gosh,
Hmm.
dude, oh, I'm gonna kill myself.
Hmm.
Because I definitely don't remember what it looks like. Oh no.
I do. I mean, there have been so many. I remember. Yeah, we sound like super uneducated on this podcast right now, but there was one that
We're just having a good time.
I think it was Helio. I think they had a Helio kickflip, and I remember wanting that thing because I wish I could demonstrate with my hands. But here's my iPhone, and if you flipped it up, the whole thing would just the top of the screen would just kind of flip around. I think it was called the kickflip.
The kickflip.
And obviously I skated back in the day, so that was super appealing to me. Um, but Helio phones, I can't remember if those are actually called, if those are actually considered smartphones. But that
Here,
probably,
I'm showing it over your face right now. You can kind of
I
see it,
mean,
right? Is that what you're talking
yeah.
about? And it looks like it
Wait,
does a kickflip almost.
wait, let's pull it up. Oh yeah, the Helio kickflip, man.
That's
I
what it
wanted
looks
that phone
like.
so bad. I wanted that phone so bad when I was like 12 years old or 13 years old, whenever that came out.
It,
uh,
dude, it must have been the sidekick or something, right? The
yeah, yeah,
smartphone
yeah,
sidekick.
yeah, yeah. Clifton in the chat in Twitch saying that the sidekick maybe. I do remember the sidekick. That's when they got like all the rappers and stuff involved.
This was it. This is
That's
exactly what
it.
I'm talking about.
There you
Yes.
go.
Let me share. I'm pretty sure this is how. Hold on, real quick. Nope, that's wrong. There we go.
I can share my screen too if you want.
No, you can see it here. This is it. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking about. Dude, I wanted this so bad. I had a house phone. Remember?
Oh yeah,
And people were coming to school with this like futuristic thing. I was like, no way.
yeah.
Is this real
No, dude.
life?
I mean, the history of cell phones is insane. I mean, I can remember the first time it was a Motorola something. It didn't flip, it didn't open up, nothing cool about it. It just had a regular numpad back in the T9 texting days.
Oh wow.
But I remember, I wish I could remember the name of that phone. It probably was back before they actually had like legit names. It just probably had some kind of model number. But
Okay.
um, I remember getting on AOL Instant Messenger for the first time via mobile phone, and I was just like, I couldn't wait to chat everybody. I was like, by the way, I'm chatting you from a mobile phone right now, so get on my level. Um,
Step your
like,
game
what are
up,
you on your,
scrubs.
are you in your mom's bedroom on your PC? Like, what are you? Come on,
Oh,
get with it.
what are you working on dial up right now, buddy?
Yeah, yeah. So little did they know it was my mom's phone that she gifted to me, like after she was done with it. So,
They didn't need to
um,
know.
yeah.
That's
So
great.
fast forward like 20 years. Um, kids these days, they'll never know.
They won't. They
Fast forward
won't.
like 20 years. Yeah, I was super into Android, man. I mean, I actually even, you know this, I actually did and am actually about to start doing again some freelance writing on the side on the weekends and nights for Android Authority,
No
which is a
way.
huge, one of the biggest Android like reporting, journalism sites out there, tech reporting sites out there, and some of their sister websites as well. So I had
Nice.
stopped doing that for a while, and I'm actually going to start doing that again, here pretty soon. So pretty excited about that. But
How'd you get back
yeah,
into
just
that?
I just reached out to the guys again, just kind of checked in, see if they need any help, and they got back with me and are looking for somebody part time again. So gonna jump back in. Kind of
Congrats, man.
excited.
That's sweet.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, after I stopped doing that, I lost a little bit of my kind of insight into the industry. I guess
I
like
was
I
just gonna
stopped.
say that. I was like, dude, you used to know
Yeah,
everything that was coming out.
yeah. I mean, I was super like, I mean, did so much research into all the products and stuff back then, so I could write about it. And then once I stopped doing that, I kind of my finger was a little bit off the pulse, not quite as involved as it used to be. So
Yeah.
excited to kind of jump back into that.
Nice, dude.
But
So,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, so Shayna, my wife, had always used an iPhone, and so I mean, I was always around iPhones, and my entire family used iPhones. So I was like the ugly duckling who had the green bubble in iMessage, and didn't get to do all the cool little animations and stuff like that, the birthday pops and stuff in iMessage, and I couldn't do FaceTime, and I just had to like beg Shayna to download Google Duo on her phone so she could do FaceTime with me.
wait,
Especially once we had the kids.
recently, since you didn't have an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Before that, man, she had to download Duo on her on her iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
um, so that we could do like a FaceTime thing. I mean, it worked, like you said, it worked kind of fine, but it wasn't. It's definitely not FaceTime.
No.
Um,
I use it with
so I,
my wife and I call each other every day while I'm at work. And I
Yeah,
tell you, dude, it drops so much, and it's like half of it's just not loading any of the frames or the audio. It's really frustrating. I definitely want to call Google and just tell them, guys, get it together. Call whoever
yeah,
you can. Call your insiders over at Apple and figure it out. You know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, dude, and that's kind of honestly that was like one of the pulls for me to go to iPhone. I mean, I was totally in your camp for a long time. Like, oh, I just wish I just love tinkering so much and being able to customize and do something as simple as move my I'll just pull my face my I want to move my icons to the bottom of the screen. Apple, why can't I do that? Just let me do that. I
Right?
want my thumb doesn't go this high very easily. It's kind of a
Listen,
stretch.
we'll welcome you. We will welcome you back with open arms as soon as you want to come back to the Android force, buddy.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
will welcome you.
So I mean, I looked at iPhones forever, man. I always tell Shayna whenever they came out, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be the year. This is gonna be the year that I switch. And then they just never. It was just a little bit too. I wasn't too interested in it, interested enough to make the jump. And
Yeah.
then I had the Pixel 2 XL for I guess a period of 2 years or whatever the contract was, and I loved that phone, especially when it first came out. The battery life was awesome. The performance was amazing. The screen was great. People complained about the color temperature and stuff of the screen and things like that they end up like releasing patches for to fix. But overall, I was super happy with that phone.
Yeah.
And I, for most of the contract, and then about the time that contract ran out is when Apple announced the 11 and the 11 Pro, which is what I got here, the 11 Pro Max with the giant
Ooh.
three camera bulge. It's
Oh
actually not
my.
quite of a bulge
When
anymore.
did you get
It's
this?
pretty slim. You haven't seen this yet?
Did you just get it?
Uh, what's it been? I guess it released in November.
No, you
So
did
it's
show
been
me it. You did show me it. Cuz
yeah, I
you
think
were
it's
trying
been
to use
about
it as a webcam. I remember.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's been like 4 months or so, I guess, at this point.
Oh,
Three
wow.
months, three or four
Got it.
months.
And and you like it?
To be honest, man, and I feel like a betrayer. I feel like I'm betraying my my previous Android folks. I haven't missed Android really, to be honest with you. Um,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
I
Oh, that
I'm being
hurts.
serious. I
That's
haven't. It's just I think
my
it maybe I'm getting old. I don't
my
know.
heart.
Maybe
My
I'm
heart.
getting old.
It stings. It stings.
Yeah, but I mean, it just like you said, it just works. It doesn't have that flexibility like Android does. Like I can't move my icons to the bottom of the screen and simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I've been able to do pretty much anything I was able to do with the Pixel, and it just works. Like it doesn't lag out, it doesn't freeze up, doesn't hang up. Even the
Okay.
Pixel, the promise of Apple is like, software and hardware married together and they work seamlessly together and all those things. It's just actually true. And then when the Pixel came out, I was like, okay, well, this is Google's answer to that. It's Google's software, it's Google's hardware. It should work seamlessly. And out of the
Okay.
box, it did for the longest time. But then as it aged, just like every single Android phone I've ever used, after about a year or so in, I started to get that stutter. I started to get those apps that hang up, started to get the crashes. And so far with the iPhone, I can name maybe like one or two times where it's like just acted up, just acted kind of weird, not completely locked up. And I've had to actually reboot it or whatever. But otherwise,
I'm
it's
gonna
just
call
it just
Apple
works.
and tell them to get their checkbook out because they need to get you on salary, buddy. they they need to
Oh
start
gosh,
cutting you a check.
I know, I know. If only I was an influencer.
So you think I should switch over to the iPhone? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know, man. I think maybe now I'm kind of bipartisan, I guess. I mean, I can definitely go either way.
Yeah.
I was watching, I guess I was listening to a podcast or something the other day. And yeah, I was listening to one of the podcasts I listen to a lot. And the guy was like, yeah, I'm an iPhone guy right now. He was like, but I'm really kind of just agnostic. Like, if another cool Android phone comes out that I'm super interested in,
Yeah.
then and it looks really good and fits my needs, then I'll switch over. And that's kind of how I feel right now too. But I will say, the pain of switching from iPhone back to Android, I hear, is a complete nightmare.
Okay.
And I think Apple does it on purpose. I think they try to lock you in.
Yep.
For instance, I think your messages typically. I remember actually back when I switched from iPhone 5 to whatever that Android phone was that I switched to, having the hardest time. Like my text messages
Oh
just
yeah.
getting lost in Nowhereville.
Oh yeah.
Um, you
They
know,
want to
stuff like
trap
that.
you. They want to trap
Oh
you
yeah,
in, for sure.
yeah. And I mean, you hear people talk about, if you listen to any kind of tech podcast, it's the iMessage, it's the ecosystem lock in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, iMessage, FaceTime, like you talked about, those sorts of things, dude. Like now being an iPhone user, it's kind of hard to like think about a time where I can't send some silly little iMessage that's got my talking head, or you know, like a big splash from when the bubble comes in, which totally annoys my wife to no end. But those fun little things that you can do in iMessage and then FaceTime, it's just super seamless. And you know, being a Mac user, which we'll talk about in a little bit,
Yeah.
and also owning an iPad and using Mac for work, like it's just, I can have my messages everywhere. My notes are synced up everywhere. FaceTime I can use on any of my devices at one time. It's just kind of, you know, the Android phone was the one thing that was not jiving quite with my ecosystem. So
Okay. Okay.
I don't
Got
know.
it.
I'm not super Apple fanboy yet. You know, I still have Google Home scattered throughout my house. I
I
still
don't know,
wear
man.
an Android watch. You know, still runs Android or
I,
Wear OS.
I
So
feel like you're repping Apple pretty hard. I
hey
gotta
man,
say,
you know,
man.
just putting it out there.
I think you've taken the whole Valentine's tech we love to a whole nother level with Apple. We might have to send you guys on a blind date or something. Watch out, Shayna.
Oh,
Watch out.
oh, me and my iPhone.
Oh no.
Yeah. Um.
All right, man. So
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 shall we move on?
yeah, I guess so. I think I might have to buy an Apple iPhone now after all that.
You know, might be worth it. And actually, I will say, I don't know anything yet about the iPhone. I guess it'll be the 12. Who knows? They have a weird naming convention all of a sudden. They got like 6 different iterations of every phone they release. But I've heard the 12 is going to be like the next revolutionary design that they release, and it's going to be, you know, completely different than their other form factors. So maybe keep your eye out, man. Maybe not. Maybe don't upgrade just yet.
You know what I'm actually looking for is one that can play like next gen video games. When are they going to come out with a phone that can just play next gen video games?
Yeah, yeah. Seriously,
They
I don't
have
know. They
like
might. I mean,
they have like Razer
with
phones right now, but
yeah,
like you remember the PSP, right? PSP had
of
like next
course.
gen graphics and everything.
Yeah,
Put
portable
that
gaming.
put it in a phone, right? Why can't we have a
I
Game
mean,
Boy Advanced iPhone?
the phones are powerful enough now, man. They sell those. I think Razer actually sells add-on controllers that you can snap onto the sides of your iPhone or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not Razer, but there's some company out there that does that. And I mean, they're powerful enough. You can play some pretty impressive games. I mean, you can get Fortnite on your phone, obviously PUBG.
I mean,
So yeah,
I got one of these, which I mean, I'll probably talk about later, but one of these little gadgets, right? This little thing flips
yeah,
up and you put your phone in there and then you just, you're off to the races with the analog
yeah.
sticks and everything. So, I'm thinking like the PUBG versions, like it's not like the
It's not the
computer,
same.
It's not the same.
Yeah,
So I'm
definitely not
looking
the same.
for that quality. But we'll get
Right.
there. All right, so you want to move on? You want to talk about
Yeah,
computers?
I think we've spent enough time on phones.
I
Let's
think
move on.
I think we have. I think we could
Yeah,
talk about some computers now, right?
I like computers.
I love computers. Computers are, probably like number 3 in my life, right after my wife and my dogs. So I would have to say, if somebody threw my computer out the window right now, I'd probably cry. AJ,
Of course you would.
today is the day after Valentine's Day, and I'm just gonna break it out. I'm gonna put it out there on the line right now. I'm just gonna tell you the truth.
Uh
I would
Okay.
cry. I would bawl
Oh.
like a little baby. You know? Yep. I
Who
would curl
wouldn't? I
up.
mean, you've spent recently a lot of investment into your machine.
Phew, oh my jeez, man. The amount of time that I've spent on this thing, it's a passion project. So I don't want
Yes.
it to go anywhere. I don't want it to go anywhere. And it's a long time coming too. So I didn't always have a nice computer, right? I remember the good old days. Do you remember like the old? I think it was like a Microsoft like 3 or something like that, where it was just black, or it
Ooh.
was like the Microsoft 2 where it was just black and green. It was black and
Yeah, the
green.
old DOS.
Yeah, the old DOS. And I remember my dad had it, and he would have like all these different floppy disks, and like I didn't care about like all the other stuff, but he had like Space Invaders, and he had like Pac-Man, and like
Some
I think it
Pong.
was, yeah, he had some like really old school stuff, and I would just like love going and grabbing those floppy disks and popping them in, being like
Oh
a little
man,
6-year-old kid, you know, like I'm a little 6-year-old kid, like popping a floppy disk in, trying to play some Pong or some Space Invaders, dude. That
that's
was
that's
that was
that's
that.
original haptic feedback. You push that floppy disk in just to the right point, and it's just like satisfying.
Click.
You know, click,
Oh,
and then
oh, this
there's a
is
little
so
button to
great.
release it. You push it, and it pops
Oh
back out. Oh,
yes,
so good,
absolutely. Yeah, now
so
now
good.
when you press the button, you don't get anything. It's just a flat screen. You press the button, it doesn't give you any
Oh yeah,
haptic feedback. Yeah, man. Those were the glory days. And I didn't even have internet connection, so it was just click click, you know, put it in and go with it. So those
yes.
were some of my first experiences with computers, but later on after that, I had a break from computers, and then finally my mom bought a gosh, it was a Windows PC. It came in. Do you remember? I'm pretty sure it was Windows. It came in a box that was like all. It looked like a cow, right? It had black and white spots
Oh,
all over it. Do you remember those?
wasn't that Dell's branding for a long time?
Was it Dell's? I
I'm
don't
pretty sure
remember.
Dell. I
Let me
think
look
that
it
was
up.
Dell's old branding. Yeah,
Cow box for computers.
I'm pretty sure Dell had the Cal branding for a long time.
Gateway. It was Gateway. That's what it was.
Was Gateway?
Yeah, it was Gateway. And here, I'll
Oh
show
yeah,
it.
you're right.
And
Right,
I'll
I see
show
it
it.
now.
Can you? Yeah. So this, I remember we had a gateway, okay, and it came in one of these little cow boxes. I don't understand why it came in the cow box. Maybe they were looking into the future and saw what Chick-fil-A was doing and was trying to
Yes.
figure that out, or maybe Chick-fil-A
I don't
copied
know.
them. But I don't know.
Somebody thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So so that's where I started basically with my PCs is playing around with that. But that was a long time ago, right? That's before I even like knew how PCs operated. Like I didn't know what a GPU was, a CPU. I didn't know, I didn't know what RAM did. I didn't understand any of that stuff. So a long time ago, and now I understand all the different ins and outs of it. And it's like every time I buy a new um, you know something new for my computer, it's like adding, it's like an android, it's like its own little android, it's my own little like Frankenstein
Yeah, it's
monster.
your creation. It's your creation, man.
Yeah,
It's your baby.
and I add a new processor to it, I add a new GPU, add better RAM, and it just gets better and better and better. And recently, and this goes with all of the upgrades that I've done recently, but I bought a ray tracing graphics card. So it's an RTX, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060. So not top of the
Yes.
line, but it gets the job done. And I played
Oh
a
my
game.
gosh.
Oh my geez, I
It
played
looks
a
so good.
yeah, I played Control on this game, or on this computer. Control is a game with it's got ray tracing enabled, and you're third person doing like a whole bunch of psychic, like moving rocks and
Yep.
throwing them at people and shooting people and stuff. And dude, my
Telekinesis.
my eyes were just, oh my,
Yeah, you showed me this. I've seen this live.
it was so amazing. It's hard for me
And
to explain how beautiful it was. You know?
that one scene of you walking through whatever like creepy hallway it was with like these little these little tiny street lamps or whatever it is every once in a
Yes.
while in between these giant concrete pillars, and you're just walking through this. Oh my gosh.
And the
The
reflections.
shadows.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
the reflections,
shadows.
the shadows. Oh, it's amazing,
It was
man.
so great. I loved it.
It's amazing. Non-video game people who don't understand the limitations of consoles and of PCs up until this point have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you've lived through the age of terrible graphics,
Mhm.
which back then you didn't realize how terrible they were. But if you look back now, you look at
Yeah.
like Duke Nukem or something,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
or even the original Halo back
Halo.
when that
I
was
was
like, yeah,
that's what I was thinking too. Halo. You know?
you look back at that, you don't understand. But then you look at this ray tracing, and even before I saw it on your computer, I was like, ray tracing, like, what's the hype? I mean, like, my
Oh
computer
yeah.
puts out 1080 at 60 is all I need on my computer to play my game. I have a 1080p monitor. I need to step my game up in terms of monitors, but yours with your 2K monitor and the 2060 running ray tracing is just like
Yep.
mind blowing.
144 hertz. Actually 165 hertz in 2K with ray tracing. Oh yeah. Got those fans spinning to keep it cold.
Yeah.
But
No butter.
they even did ray tracing with Minecraft. There's like a mod where you can put ray tracing
saw
inside
that.
of Minecraft. Like how crazy is that,
I I saw that on, I think it was Facebook. Somebody showed a video of like a ray tracing mod, and it looked like a real world setting. It was
Yeah.
super dope.
Yeah, dude, seriously. So, anyway, there's been huge leaps of in performance for graphics cards, processing, you name it, over the past 5 to 10 years. And I am just
Yeah.
so thankful that the price point to get all of the equipment that I have now has
Yep.
come down. And I just recently bought, I have a second computer. I actually had three computers. One was like really, really bad, and it was downstairs, and we used it so that we could get my computer on the TV, so we could just like watch YouTube on the TV. Um,
Yeah.
and all of the parts that I took out of the computer that I'm using right now were just kind of sitting around. So I went ahead and took those parts and put them in the really old computer,
Yep.
and I bought a capture card. So I'm this week going to be doing dual PC streaming basically. So I'm going to have this computer that I'm on right now doing all of the graphics creation basically, and it's
Yeah.
going to be able to operate at full capacity. And then the other computer is just going to be doing all of the encoding and all of the pushing to Twitch and whatnot. So I'm super excited as long as I can get the thing working.
That's more less chance of drop frames and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've been dealing with when I play Vulcan games.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, did you ever figure out the issue with the Red Dead stream?
Well, it's just Vulcan. They use Vulcan, and that's like the operating system for the video game,
Mm-hmm.
and it just doesn't do well with streaming. So I have to turn the graphics way down, and I have to do a bunch of different changes to get it to even stream. But I still get like 15% dropped frames, which is just not good. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but it does that to me on like No Man's Sky also. So I got some work to do. And then the last thing I want to talk about computers is IPS versus TN monitors, right? So you have your two different types of panels. There's three different types of panels, but I'm going to focus on these two because these are the main ones, right?
Yep. Yep.
So with an IPS panel, you get better color. It's just the blacks are blacker, the colors are more beautiful. You know, everything pops a lot better, but you don't get
The viewing
the
angles too.
same. Yeah, the viewing angles too, but you don't get the same response rate. So
Yeah.
with an IPS, you might be able to get like 5 ms, but it's probably not gonna. You'll never get 1 ms on an IPS. I don't
No.
think, at least. And you know the refresh rate on it, you're probably not gonna get as good refresh rate. You're not. You're gonna have to spend a lot of money to get
I was gonna
144
say.
hertz.
I was gonna say you can get it. You can get it, but your
Yeah,
wallet's gonna be hurting afterwards.
yeah. So you're
And
better off just you know just going with 60 hertz because it's gonna save you a lot of money and it's
oh
gonna
yeah.
look good. But so that's for that's quality, right? Now, if you want performance and you're playing first-person shooters like Escape from Tarkov, Overwatch,
Call of Duty.
PUBG, yeah, Call of Duty, PUBG, you name it, you're gonna want a TN panel. So TN panels, the colors are it's gonna be duller. It's gonna look duller. You're not gonna have the same blacks. The contrast isn't going to be as good, but that refresh rate, you don't have to spend as much money, and you'll get 144 hertz, no problem. You'll
Yep.
probably get better resolution for cheaper also. Um, and so that's the trade-off there. So I love both of them equally for different reasons, right? So I have both of them. I have an IPS and I have a TN. Um,
Right.
One thing to point out though is if you have them both plugged in and you're using them both at the same time, you want to make sure that they have the same refresh rate, because if they don't have the same refresh rate, then they're going to throttle down to the
The
lesser
lower.
of the two. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so most of the time, if I'm using my IPS and my TN, I'm not getting the 144 hertz. I have to shut the IPS monitor off. I'm sure there's some other configuration options, but I just haven't quite got there yet. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so
I'm interested. I use an IPS, but I mean, I'm interested. Like, I mean, I know you don't like play a ton of first-person shooters, but I mean, you do play Overwatch, and I think that's what you use primarily when you're doing your games, right? Your games on your TN, and your stream or whatever's on your IPS, right?
yeah, all of my games are on my TN just because
Yeah.
I prefer
The
performance over quality.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've never actually used a TN personally, so I'm like, I'm not a professional gamer. Like, I probably won't notice the difference between a 4 millisecond input lag and a 1 millisecond.
Oh yeah, you won't.
But I mean, I never know. I haven't actually tried it, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's just it's just those little, they say you win football games by inches, not yards. So it's
True.
just those
Any
little things.
Yeah, I mean, I just play video games for fun. I mean, I'm like, definitely not like a competitive player by any means, especially because I've been playing PC games for what, less than 6 months. But
Yeah.
everything down to the keyboard that I'm using, which actually is on the list coming up. But the keyboard I'm using it's a mechanical keyboard, but it's not meant for gaming. It's wireless, but it has a wired option.
Okay.
So there actually is a slight difference in the input response when you have plugged the wire in versus when it's wireless. But
Yep. Exactly.
again, like I doubt I'm not good enough to my brain's not uh good enough to pick up on that. So
I I will
yeah.
say I will say this, like, the upgrades that I have made, um the larger scale upgrades were like getting a better GPU, getting a better
Yeah,
system.
yeah, yeah.
So if I went all the way back to like what I was using before, which was, very slow, and I don't even think I could get 1080 before, and my graphics were bad, and everything was bad, to where I am now. If I were to go and face that guy on that computer, I would annihilate that guy, because I'd have
Yeah.
at least a half second before him to get my crosshairs over his forehead,
Oh
and
yeah, dude.
and so it's just those types of things. So I mean, you're gonna get a better KDA in video games just by having better equipment. Um, that's just all there is to it, because you're gonna have kids out there trying to play on mom's computer that doesn't have a GPU in it, and using integrated graphics that can't, get the job done, and you're gonna walk all over them. So it's like those little things. But I mean, your computer now, dude, you don't have anything to worry about. The computer that
Yeah.
you're running, your processor, your GPU. So yeah, tell me about your computer, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, you actually know my computer intimately, and Toby, if you're out there listening right now, he knows my computer pretty intimately, and my buddy Cody at work, because if you guys were watching last week, you know that these three dudes helped me put this computer together. But yeah, I finally entered the world of PC gaming, so just some background,
Yes.
similar to the Apple situation, the iPhone situation. I was a Mac user historically, and actually, I'm still a Mac user. Like I said, I have a MacBook that I run for personal use. So like when I would do like freelance stuff, I have like a lot of design programs on there and things like that. And I also use a Mac at work because I'm in marketing and I actually have to do a lot of design related stuff as well. And that's not to say that PCs can't run design software, because they do run Adobe Creative Suite and things like that. But I'm just kind of have the background. I'm a lot faster at a Mac when I'm flipping between applications and using keyboard shortcuts and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But so but yeah, I finally got into the PC world. Thank goodness. Thanks to my buddies. I kept
Thank
met I
you.
kept Yeah, yeah, I kept meeting people, man, where I'm like, Reese, perfect example. I met you and like we found out we both have a love for video games. And I'm like, dude, all right, let's play together. You're like, I play Xbox. You're like, I'm on PC. I'm like, damn, dude.
We can't
Same
be friends.
Yeah, I mean, same with like everybody that I meet at work or through whatever, people play PC, and I'm like, all right, there's clearly something to this. I got to get on board. So,
Yeah.
I scrounged together a few bucks, sold some things, sold a Nintendo Switch, sold an older iMac that I had, and really that covered basically everything, because thankfully my buddy Reese here, the beard, let me borrow his old 1060, his GTX 1060, which is a few years old, but dude, it's doing perfect. It's a freaking champ, man.
No
Um,
sweat off my back, bud. I'm happy you
yeah, I
got it,
mean,
man. It's
yeah.
awesome.
So other than that, I was able to pay for literally everything out of those two things that I sold. I think I ended up spending all in like $800 or something like that, and I got like a pretty
That's
solid
such
bill.
a
I mean,
good deal. Such a good
yeah, I
deal.
mean, it's definitely not the world's greatest machine, and I'm not pushing 4K at 120 frames, but like I said, I'm running a 1080p monitor right now, which is a 60 hertz monitor, and it powers. I haven't had any sort of stutter or any sort of dropped frames or tearing or anything like that. So I'm super happy. But yeah, so just some internal specs. It's running a AMD Ryzen 5, which also is actually that came out I believe in like 2017.
Hmm.
So it's not the newest, it's not the greatest, but it's 6 core. It's 3.4 gigahertz. I think if I would have gotten the AMD Ryzen 7, which is the newest one, or maybe not the newest, maybe the newer one, for the same clock speed, I would have had to pay like double the price.
Yep.
So
Yep.
It's a solid deal. And I use PC Part Picker to pick pretty much everything. 16 gigs of RAM, two sticks of Corsair, 8 gig RAM, and like I said, that GTX 1060. And I love it, man.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna get into gaming consoles next, but I can honestly kind of answer it right now by saying I haven't touched a console again since I sat down at this computer
You
and
don't.
started playing video games.
It's just not necessary, right? You got. I mean, there's a time and a place, right? But
Yeah,
when you have a PC and you're just at home by yourself, it's just like I don't know. There's something about having a mouse and a keyboard where it's like there's so much more. It's not just a gaming console. It's an everything
yeah,
console. You could do
yeah.
everything, you know?
I literally do. I think last night. I mean, last night I think I was playing some Overwatch, and I was trying to prep for the show. And I think every between every game, I was flipping between the game and back to my show notes and just kind of putting out some, doing some research, putting down some notes. Like I
Yep.
could literally jump from gaming to productivity to checking emails to doing whatever, working on the stream or whatever it is, in an instant. From an Xbox, I have to have my Xbox, I have to have a laptop on my lap, I have to have a phone, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not as seamless, I guess. So
No,
yeah,
I
I
get that.
love this thing. And honestly, I use it now that I've got this webcam set up. If I have to work from home or anything, usually I just leave my laptop shut, man. I just I just turn on the PC. I've got all my Adobe software on here. If I need to use that, I can hop into conference calls. I can do all that stuff. And honestly, back to the conversation about being able to tinker on things and customize things and all that stuff. Like it's been kind of fun getting back into Windows because it was so long since I had used Windows, and I actually like Windows 10. I mean, a lot of people, complain about Windows or whatever, and especially people who have been using Macs for a long time. Like Windows sucks. But honestly, it's just
How
different.
dare
That's all
they?
it is. Yeah, it's just different. I mean, I know Windows 7 sucked. I know Windows 8 sucked. But now Windows 10, man, it's pretty clean. So
Hmm.
I'm very happy.
I am too. I think so. And I think you're gonna keep finding more and more information and different capabilities, and it's just going right back to the Android versus Apple uh,
Debate.
conversation we were having earlier.
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
Android. Android's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
he said it.
If Google makes an operating system, I mean they've got Chrome OS, but if they
Yeah.
make a full blown
What,
operating system, that would
what
be interesting.
what would they call it? Would they call it the googly, the
Probably
Googler,
probably Google OS, or
the Google?
I can tell you one thing though, Android sucks on anything except for a phone.
Oh really?
Oh, dude, Android tablets, total garbage.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
tablets in general, I think we have a tablets. I think we had planned on talking about tablets, but I'm just
Tablets
gonna
are
go ahead and
junk.
say it. Tablets are garbage, dude.
They're garbage.
If there's anybody in Twitch right now who disagrees with me, please leave a chat, or if you're listening in your car or whatever, leave me a comment if you disagree. But tablets suck.
I mean,
Um,
they have a time and a place, and it's basically if you're on an airplane or in a kitchen and you need the recipe up. That's where I
yeah,
find myself using the tablet is to get a recipe up next
yeah,
to me. But that's like
I can see
besides
that.
that, what are you going to use a tablet for? You're not going
But
to
I mean,
write
what about
anything.
phones are giant. Phones are 6.5 inches now. I
Yeah.
mean, this is almost a tablet, anyways. I
Yeah.
have an iPad. It's an Air 2, so it's a little bit outdated at this point. And don't get me wrong, the iPad Pros that are out there, if you're the kind of person who is handy with a pencil and can make really cool stuff with the stylus, I can see the use case there. But if you just are
Okay.
buying a device just to browse on the couch or whatever, like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just maybe that's my opinion, but it's so much easier just to open up your laptop. I mean,
Mhm.
this again, maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. Maybe my thumb's just not on the pulse as much as it used to be. But I swear, man, when the new iPad software rolled out, I think it's like iOS, or I think it's called iPad OS now. I think. Um, I'm totally lost, man. If I pick up an iPad and try to use those like power user features, like split screen windows or these different productivity tools that they pulled out, there's literally so many shortcuts and things you can do. Like you can pinch with 4 fingers, you can pinch with 3 fingers, you can swipe with 4 fingers, you can swipe with 2 fingers. Like there's an unreal amount of possibilities that you can do, and it's great if you can master them all. But to the average person, No
Yeah.
one can remember those things.
And that's what I was
Um,
just gonna say. Like for a consumer, like your average consumer, I feel like tablets are more gonna be they're gonna be more valuable to specialists, right? People that are
yeah.
specializing in art, right?
Yep.
Art,
Yeah. I mean,
advertising, maybe. Um,
mhm,
you could use them at like a road show.
yeah.
You could use a tablet. It has its uses, like in marketing, right? You could hand somebody a tablet and be like, "Hey, check this out." And it's like a tablet's something that you want to spend like 30 seconds with. I feel
Yeah.
like you don't want to spend an hour with. That's why you
Right.
have a laptop. Laptop's like your long form version of speech
Oh yeah.
versus versus a tablet, which is like your short and quick conversation. I think that's a good analogy, right? I think that's something we could kind of tie it to.
I think so too. I mean, I will say I worked from home last week because I had like the flu or something, something like the flu.
Oh
Um,
dang, dude, that
but I
sucks.
was basically laid out on the couch one day, and I was just like, I can't. I have the opportunity to work from home if I'm ever sick, which is great. And I was like, I just can't even sit at the desk right now. I just need to chill on the couch. So I was like, let me try the iPad. So I downloaded some apps like Gmail, Google Drive, my project management tool, Rike, all these different things I downloaded on the iPad. I was like, let me just try to work from this iPad alone and see how it goes. And I think once I got the hang of it, I mean, number one, without a keyboard, I mean, there's keyboard covers you can buy, but I don't have those.
Yeah,
Without a keyboard, that instantly cuts your productivity almost in half because it takes so
absolutely.
long to type things.
Yep.
Um, but
You,
it was honestly kind of fun, like just swiping back and forth between pages and trying to use different things and seeing what I could do from the iPad.
okay.
But beyond that, I mean, that was kind of just a novelty. I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. This is a nice little change of pace, but I would never
Yeah.
want to do that for an entire day. There's no way.
I get that same feeling because I have a Chromebook, right? And like I'll
Hmm.
pull the Chromebook out and be like, "Oh, this is so cool, so hip, this is great."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
You
after
feel
like
cool.
10 minutes, I'm like, "Well, this is taking me way too long to get anything done."
Yeah.
Where's my HP laptop? Let me go grab that real quick.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, some of the guys that I work with, like through Android Authority, doing the freelance writing, or people, other people in the tech industry who, writing is their moneymaker. Um, I've definitely heard them talk about how they try to use like an iPad Pro for their main device, right? And if you're writing and you have the keyboard cover for the iPad Pro,
yeah,
it's got plenty of power. It's got plenty of screen real estate. The keyboard's good enough.
yeah,
You can kind of get the job done. But when you go to publish your article, and I can tell you this from experience, having to log into WordPress or something where most of these tech blogs are hosted,
mm-hmm.
or can't think of any of the other CMS sites right now off the top of my head.
But the
Good,
functionality's not there.
yeah, good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck logging into those things from your weird tablet browser,
Yep. Yeah.
and trying to actually publish your article. Chances are you're going to have to jump off your iPad, go open up your laptop, and finish the job there. You can't
Because
just do it all from one device.
the operating system's usually like a mobile version anyway on tablets, so you're
Yeah.
basically just working on a giant phone. And to your point about the keyboards, you don't have like the haptic feedback. It's not
Yeah.
haptics. It's not haptics, but you know how like when you put your fingers on a keyboard, they have like the curves and you know where your fingers are. Like
Oh
those
yeah.
keyboards that you're talking about, the attached ones,
Yep.
they're flat and you have no idea
They're not great.
where your fingers are. There's not like it's I don't enjoy typing on those.
Yeah.
It's not an
Yeah.
enjoyable experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think the new iPad type cover, which comes with it doesn't come with, it's an accessory to the iPad Pro, is probably as good as it gets right now, unless you're looking at something maybe like Logitech sells some accessory keyboards for the iPad that are not too bad. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the majority of them, they don't have the tactical feedback. You lose
Yeah.
your finger position a lot, so it's just not. But
Right.
that actually,
Tactile, that's it.
yeah, that dovetails nicely actually into gadgets that we love.
Mhm. Let's
And I
hear it,
see
man.
here, yeah, so you've seen this bad boy in person. I'm going to show it to the folks at home. This is the Keychron K1 V2. So Keychron is a company that I've been checking out for about a year or so now, and they make these beautiful wireless mechanical keyboards. It's kind of hard to see in the picture probably, but this is a mechanical keyboard. It's super low profile. It's got custom switches on it. It's not as big as like you would see from a Switch from like Cherry or somebody like that, where it's a little bit chunkier, which is why most mechanical keyboards are a bit chunkier. Um, this is probably one of my favorite gadgets right now,
Yeah,
just because number one, it looks awesome.
it
I
does.
mean, it's got you can kind of see the RGB effect to the backlight right now, but you can cycle through all these different backlight modes.
Ooh, ooh, I like that.
Um, you got crazy little effects here and there, and of course you can adjust all the colors. But
Oh, I like
number
that
one,
one.
let me just see if I can put this close to the microphone and let you guys hear this.
Now, do you like that?
So yeah, I don't know if that's registering on the mic or not, but it's so good, man. It's so satisfying. Like we were talking about earlier with the floppy disk and sticking that in. Every key press is like that. You feel the actuation with the key. You hear the click. It's super satisfying, and honestly, it makes my typing a little bit more accurate.
Okay.
I will be honest with this keyboard in particular. You sense the keys are so low profile and they're so flat.
Yeah.
There's no bevel to them like you would see on most mechanical keyboards or most keyboards in general. So it is kind of easy to lose your finger position. And the switches that are on this keyboard, they do have a tendency to activate before the click you hear. So if you basically you have to kind of try to do it, but if you just touch lightly enough on the keyboard on the key, you can actually send an input from the key and type a letter without actually hearing that click.
Okay.
Whereas most mechanical keyboards, the click and the actuation is one and the same. They're one and the same, but
Got it.
because of the low profile switches, they had to do it a little bit differently. But yeah, I love typing on this thing in stark contrast to like an iPad keyboard.
Right. Makes sense. So you like that feedback that you get from the keys.
Oh yeah, it's so good. It drives my wife nuts when I'm down here hammering away at an article or something, and she's like a room over, and she's like, "Will you please keep the keyboard
Oh
typing to a
no.
minimum?" Yeah. So
I think I think I'm gonna probably upgrade to one eventually. Right now I'm using the Razer Deathstalker. So I basically have the same issues as you, where it's the keys are so low profile, right? And there's no
yeah,
bevel to them that it's hard to keep my finger placement. But I like how sleek it is. I like how sleek it is, but I don't have that amazing feedback, you know. So
yeah.
that's
And I've seen your keyboard, and it has like a lot of macros, right? Like it's got a lot of things you can do there, right?
yeah, it's a gaming keyboard. I mean, there's two different macro settings where it goes into like macro mode, and it's like
Hmm.
I could set all these different things up. But I don't even really find myself using it that much, just because
Right.
I don't need it. But yeah, I do want to get a keyboard. I want to get a mechanical. I really do, because I like that customization aspect.
I think
One
you should, man.
Yeah. One thing I do have though is the Razer Naga, right? So everybody knows what the Naga is. It's got the 12 buttons on the side.
Oh man.
This I can't go to another mouse now, right? So I got the 12 buttons on the side, right? You got
Yeah.
you got two more, if I could get this to show. You got two more right here, right? You got the middle mouse button. You got the two, right and left mouse buttons. But then the middle mouse button, you can press in on it. It scrolls up and down, but then it clicks to the left and the right. And I tell
Oh
you
yeah.
what, dude, the clicking to the left and the right is like my favorite mouse feature ever, because I could be in a game, and it's like you have your left and right mouse button and you have your middle mouse button, but like you can bind the left and right click on this mouse button. So it's like if I want to throw a grenade or hit somebody, with a melee attack, there it is right there. And it just makes
Yep.
life it's just so much more convenient to play with this type of mouse. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's not light, right? So some people make it sound like if you're gonna be a professional FPS video game player, then you want to have a mouse that's like 50 grams or less. And this
Right.
thing's like 120 plus grams. So, it's heavy, but it's got all these different buttons in it, and it is wired, so that helps out a little bit. But yeah, overall, dude, this has been a lifesaver, and I've already went through one of these. And
Really?
yeah, and a mouse is like a million plus clicks, right? So
Woo.
that means that I've already gone through at least a million clicks on a mouse. That's
That's
insane.
crazy to think about. I've got one similar. I mean, I've got the Death Adder, just the Razer Death Adder.
Nice.
I just love the look of this mouse, and when I got it, I mean, it's apparently what they use, I think, for some tournament gaming and stuff like that, some competition gaming. But
Yep.
I'm a little bit jealous of your buttons because I've got the two side buttons.
Okay.
That's about it. So one I have mapped specifically for Call of Duty for my not my tactical, but my whatever they call the other one where you throw your grenades or whatever.
Okay.
Just because I'm a big throwing knife advocate in Call of Duty,
Yeah.
I need to be able to fire that thing off super fast instead of missing my keyboard, whatever the button is, E or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes
so,
sense.
however, when I have to program that macro for that, it stays programmed. So if I'm just browsing the web, when this would typically be the back button, back
Right.
button doesn't work anymore because it's a hotkey for I think it's the E key. So I just type an E if I hit that button. So it's kind of annoying, but
Okay, so I think that's fantastic. Does the middle mouse button have any added features though? Does it do the left and right? Have you tried it?
no, actually, I don't know. It kind of
It's
feels like there's a click. It feels like there's a click there, but
it should be like I mean, you would tell if it does the click. Like you should be able to tell pretty easily.
I don't know. I think the click I'm feeling is just the wheel moving back and forth. It does have a click in the middle,
Right.
which I can program to do different things. But
I'm pretty sure that
yeah,
mouse that you're holding is what, like, I think it's only like 65 grams. So that
it's
is like a
super light.
competition. Yeah, that's like a competition one. So that's
But
cool.
again, this is coming from a non-competition gamer. I've never been like this. I've never felt a mouse and be like, dude, I wish this was lighter so I can move faster.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can move fast enough, and if not, then just increase your DPI.
Well, yeah.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I know there's some
fatigue
accuracy things.
fatigue comes into play, right? So I have another
Yeah.
mouse at work, and I want to talk about how I'm using my mouse for work, right? Because if I'm talking about tech I love having a 12 button or a 19 button mouse at work because it makes my life so easy. But the one I have at work has like 5 grams of weights in it that I can take out. I think it's actually
Mm,
it might be 25 grams. I can't remember right now. But
what
like
is that?
if I have all of that extra weight in there and I'm working all day long, like halfway through the day I'm like, dude, this my wrist hurts. I have to take it out. I have to take it out. It's too much. So I know that there's a reason for it. And if you're playing video games for like 12 hours straight, you don't want to have a lot of weight on there because it's gonna
Yeah.
affect you. But okay, so
Let me.
moving a little bit. You're gonna show me something?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to throw my screen up really quick, I'll show you the mouse I use at work. Fun.
Yeah, let me see it.
Let me share my screen real
All
quick.
right, it's showing you right now, buddy.
Give me 1 second. Yeah,
Oh,
so
got
I
it.
use this Logitech MX Master 2. They actually just
Okay.
came out with a Logitech MX Master 3, but similar to what you're saying, is you can kind of see here in this photo, it's got the horizontal scroll wheel.
Yes.
And I will say for creative professionals who are maybe spending your time in video timelines, I don't typically edit that much video, but if you're spending your time in video timelines, then that horizontal scroll wheel is a lifesaver. Going to be able to slide back and forth without having to actually move your cursor to the scroll bar and pull it back and forth. Um, and it's got the front, the forward and back buttons. Obviously, you can also program those. The wheel clicks, and also this little button here, right behind the scroll wheel, actually releases the friction on the wheel. So if you hit
What?
that,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty wild, dude. If you hit that, it basically releases that wheel, so you can free spin it. So if you're on like a super long forum, or whatever the case may be, if you're like need to scroll down the page super fast or for a long time, you can just flick that wheel and it'll just scroll until that wheel stops or until you reach the bottom of the page.
Oh, nice.
Um, and then the last cool thing is that you see that like diamond sort of pattern
Yeah.
where your thumb rests. That's actually a button also. So you can push into that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I've got that macroed to my screenshot function. And so instead of hitting my keyboard shortcut Command Shift 4 to do screenshots, I just hit that real quick and I fire it off. And
Nice.
you can also Bluetooth connect it to like up to 3 devices simultaneously and switch between them all. It's a pretty bad little mouse for like about $100. So check that out if you guys need something
That's
new. And
fantastic. I love that.
ergonomically, man, it's hard to beat that thing.
I'm gonna
No.
switch back. I'm gonna switch us back.
Okay. Cool.
Um, yeah, dude, that's great. I love the idea of being able to turn the friction off and just go in and like scrolling super all the way down like that. That's really cool. But
Yeah, it's awesome.
all right, I'm not going to show the mouse that I have at work, but it's another 12 button mouse, right? And so each key, and I'm working in spreadsheets mostly. So you're doing marketing stuff. I'm a spreadsheet kind of guy. I'm dealing with like finance and everything. So
Yep.
basically my whole 12 key setup on the side here is all just bound to different functionality in Excel, which is basically just copy, paste, cut, open a new spreadsheet, close it out, print it, save it, all that different types of stuff.
So awesome, man.
And other people, like, they'll come in my room and I'm like showing them how to do stuff, and they're like, dude, how did you just do that so fast? Like, what did you just do on screen? And it's like, oh, it's the mouse. And they're like, what? You have an insane mouse? Like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I even got one of my coworkers to buy one. He was like, dude, I gotta step my gadget game up, bro. What are you working with? And so he bought one, and now we're just like, we like rule the spreadsheet game around the office.
So productive.
Oh, dude.
You must be one of those guys. You must be one of those people that conduct what I call wizardry. Yeah. Wizardry in Excel.
Yeah. I
That can do, what's it called? V lookups and all this crazy stuff. Like,
that's you're
merging data from multiple sheets. I'm just like, oh my gosh, my head hurts just watching people do this stuff.
You're just touching the tip of the iceberg, buddy. That's nothing.
Man.
That's nothing, buddy.
You need to show me your Excel magic one day.
I'll show you the magic, dude. I have, oh my geez. Like, I'm going into like vice president's offices, and like like showing them all these shortcuts, and they're like, how did you just do all that stuff? It's like, yeah,
it's magic.
And it's not even like all the functionality, it's just knowing the keyboard shortcuts mostly. It's like, if you can figure out all the different keyboard shortcuts, it makes life so easy. But
I know.
I feel like I've gone on a tangent now, and now I'm talking more about Excel. I do love Excel. I do love Excel. I feel like we're talking about tech. I mean, I guess you could kind of consider Excel.
Shout out to the Excel nerds out there.
Shout out Excel nerds.
Yeah.
Hit us with a thumbs up if you like Excel just as much as we do.
Please do.
All right.
So let's move on. What else we got in here, man?
What other gadgets, I guess? I mean, real quick, I mean, I mentioned this one earlier, but I love having this little controller basically for my phone. I love that. And then I have another one. It's at work right now, but it's like a little mini keyboard that's like this big, and it's got like everything that a keyboard would have. And so if I want to like lean back in my chair and just not care at all, I could just be using that little gadget just to be like chilling at my computer. So
that's pretty awesome.
Love that stuff.
You use it at work, you said?
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
So your boss comes in, you're like lay back in your chair. He's like, what are you doing, bro?
Sit up real quick, like, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah. You wanted to see the TPS reports? I got you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do have one other gadget that I do want to talk about. I wish I could show it on camera, but I think the way my lighting's set up, it's not going to work out. But my wife and I, primarily her, she had the idea and pressed hard for it, just invested in a laser cutter, which is, I guess, a gadget. It's freaking huge, but I guess you can still call it a gadget.
Advanced level gadgets.
Yeah, let's actually, if you want to throw me up again in 1 second, I'll pull it up just so the people can see.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready.
All right, in 1 second. Yeah, all right, here we go.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
All right, it's on you now. Ahead. Let's see it.
All right, cool.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Oh shoot, I clicked the link. All right, yeah, check this out. So this is the Glowforge.
Is that Pornhub?
Shout out. No,
just
shout
kidding.
Out to Glowforge.
Just kidding.
Shout out to Glowforge. This thing is a desktop laser cutter. It's amazing, man. So it's probably, if I'm just eyeball measuring this thing right now, it's I want to say like maybe like 2.5 feet long by maybe 1.5 feet deep. So relatively small if you're talking laser cutters.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not a super cheap investment. But if you're into like doing these sorts of little crafts and things like this thing is super powerful, man. I mean, as you can see in some of these images, you can engrave aluminum, you can engrave wood, you can cut straight through wood and acrylic and all kinds of things. Which I actually sent you a cool little coaster that's got an engraved Hulk fist, which if you guys don't know, Reese is a Hulk fanatic.
If you couldn't tell, I like the Hulk.
If you couldn't tell. So yeah, I mean, this I consider a gadget. This thing's amazing, man. And I guess we're pretty in love with this thing right now. My wife's actually started a little small, side gig right now, cutting some different things with it and selling it on Etsy. So definitely check that out. I mean, it's definitely not an investment everyone can make. Like I said, it's not super inexpensive, but in the grand scheme of machines like this, it's quite affordable. So super cool. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing.
And I'm gonna show you guys the glory on my
Oh
desk here.
yes,
This is
yeah,
this is my coaster. And behind door number 1,
yeah.
what do we
Check this one
have?
out. We got another one here. This is
Oh, look
Overwatch.
at that.
So
We're coaster buddies. Coaster buddies.
yes,
Hey, I'm gonna
yeah.
hit you with a quick oh wait, wrong way. Fist
Cheers. Are we
bump.
cheersing?
Fist bump.
Wait, go wrong way. Oh,
Fist bump.
backwards.
Boom. Boom. uh, so
So
much
good.
fun. Love it. So
Yes.
yeah. All right. I love gadgets, and I think that's awesome that you guys have a laser cutter. That's such a good investment because, I mean, it's gonna pay off eventually. You're gonna be
exactly.
making stuff. I know you guys have already been making stuff, so
Yeah, we're making lots of cool little keychains and signs and things like that. But yeah, man, she's having a ton of fun with it, and it's just a good way to do some cool creative things. And yeah, I mean, just learning a new kind of skill, being able to figure out how to program that thing to do what you need it to do, design certain things. It's really fun.
Yeah, I love it, dude. That's great. And you
So,
surprised me with a coaster. I mean, I can't. There's. I'm all for it. I'm so happy you guys got a laser cutter.
oh, I just thought of something. I just had a revelation.
What is
We
it?
should
What's up?
do Ginger and the Beer merch
Oh,
with laser cut.
ginger in
laser
the beard.
cut.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'm so in on this. And
Who doesn't want that beard on a coaster?
I think I want that beard on a coaster. And those ginger locks. Oh, come on now.
Oh,
Who
yeah,
wants
these
that on a
long, these
t-shirt?
long flowing locks. These actually are kind of long right now. This is not usually this long.
Yeah, as you
Um,
growing the beard out, I see a little bit.
oh yeah, this is just a few days of laziness.
Nice, nice. Well, my wife can make the shirts on a Cricut. She's got a Cricut. We could do.
Oh yes.
And she just recently bought one of those heat presses. So
Oh really?
yeah, so that's another thing.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
I think we're in, bro. I think we got this going. I think
All
we're
right,
gonna
we
have
need
to put out some work requests.
Yep.
Put some job openings out there.
Yep. Yes.
See if we can get some resumes.
Put out some bids.
Yeah. Get at least one bid, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we kind of rounded out tech we love. Is there anything we missed? That was a lot.
that was a lot, and I think if there was anything else, it probably wasn't as important. I feel like we hit the things that were important to us, the things that we loved, right? And
Yep.
and if it wasn't left out, well, maybe we didn't love it enough. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Next time. Well, if we think about it, there's another episode coming next week, so we can bring it up.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we do tech we love again someday.
We do.
Maybe
Next
it's
year.
Tech we love now.
Who
Who knows?
live in the present.
So you want to get into these speed rounds?
We've got some speed rounds we should talk about.
Let's do it.
So obviously, if you guys didn't hear us live last week because we didn't get to record, we are doing speed rounds at the end, I guess the last quarter of the episode.
Yeah.
Where we've got some shorter topics to get through because, like I said, we have a vast array of things that we like to cover on these episodes.
Yep.
One of which, a big one, is MMA. Reese and I both like MMA, UFC in particular. So we had a massive event last week, man. What'd you think?
Oh, dude, controversy. How about that? That's what I think.
Yeah, yes.
I think we dealt with some controversy last week, and I wasn't so happy with how it all turned out. So
You're a pretty big Bones fan, right?
yeah, I like John Bones. I like Bones, but you know what I like more than any individual? I like seeing somebody come up and beat the champion.
Yeah.
You know what?
I can see that.
I love seeing the underdog come and win. I love a Rocky story. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I love a Rocky story, and you got this guy, Dominic Reyes, right? Who's a hometown kind of guy, doesn't really have anything going. He's a rookie more or less, and he's coming up, and nobody's giving him any credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he came out, and dude, he was a dog. You watched it,
man. Yeah. I mean, honestly, those first 3 episodes. So we get into the championship rounds stuff later, but those first couple of rounds, I was worried for John, man. I mean, I really was, but
Yeah.
I kind of, and we talked about it in the first episode too. I think it's kind of what I was expecting because you've seen his past couple of fights. Like he's not super aggressive. John's not super aggressive anymore.
Nope.
He takes, he is always first. Like he's always putting the pressure on. He's always the one backing the guy against the cage,
Right.
but he's not out there throwing bombs. He's smarter than that now.
Yep.
And I was honestly expecting to see Reyes just burn out in the first two rounds because maybe you'll know more than I do, but I don't think he's gone a full. He's definitely never fought 5 rounds before, but I don't think he's gone 3 rounds.
I'm not sure, but most of his fights are knockouts in the first round.
Yeah, exactly. He's got so much power.
That was his first loss.
I thought he was gonna come out swinging, and I was actually pretty impressed that he came out as not slow, but he was pretty well paced. For what I was expecting, and he came out. I'm surprised he endured 5 rounds. I mean, John in the 4th and 5th round definitely looked more fresh than Dominic did.
Yeah.
But he's been there, dude. He's defended his 20 times, something like that, something ridiculous amount of times.
I don't know.
Defended his title.
I'll have to look that up, but I think he's actually got the most title. He actually just beat GSP, and that was one of the records that he just broke this fight was defending his belt more times than anyone else in the UFC. He's got the most title defenses, and I think you're right. I think it's close to 20, but I don't remember the exact number. But that's what he did. And so, I think Dominic Reyes clearly won the first 3 rounds, and I think John Jones clearly won the second 2 rounds, right? And so in anyone's scorebook, right, the judges should have scored it 3-2 Dominic Reyes. They scored it 3-2 John Jones for 2 of the judges, and then one judge scored it 4-1 John Jones. And I'm telling you, this guy must have had his so far up his butthole. I'm telling you, dude, he probably wasn't even watching the fight. I don't understand.
I don't know what he was watching. He must have fallen asleep or something. That guy must be like 98 years old.
He's over there watching the ring girls, not even watching the fight. Come on now.
Exactly. He's checking Twitter.
Geez.
He's looking at Instagram.
You're probably right.
We should put this. I mean, I'm not about putting people on blast, but their names are public, I think. So we can figure out who this guy is. But
I think people know who he is.
I'm sure people know who he is. I mean, you've got people like Joe Rogan, obviously his podcast talking about it.
Right.
Clearly there was no 4-1. You should not have scored that 4-1.
No way.
I honestly, man, I don't try to score, points at the end of each round just because I'm not educated enough to be like that was a 10-8 round or whatever. But I mean, just my gut feeling I was like, John might lose this, man. He might lose this title.
Oh, dude,
and
absolutely.
Part of me agrees with you. The underdog story, I kind of like that come up story. But also, I feel like Dominic Reyes, he's honestly not that much younger than John, but his UFC career is way younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy, I mean, he's had this great run. He kind of needs a little bit of a humbling experience, I feel like. So I was kind of hoping for more of a clear-cut decision with John being the winner.
Okay.
But either that or I was hoping for a clear-cut knockout, like Dominic Reyes straight up knock John out. And so there's no question. It doesn't leave it to the judges.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
That's not what we got. So, I mean,
I think
you guys don't hear that. My robot vacuum is talking to me. He's in the floor.
Domo arigato. I'm cleaning your floors.
Yeah. He's telling me stuck and needs some assistance, but I'll get to you later, Ziggy. Thank you.
No, I can't hear it.
But yeah, I mean,
I think that, and this is a common issue, is they need to get all of these different referees, all of the different commissions basically that commission these referees. They all need to be on the same page. There needs to be a legitimate scoring system. Right now, they're using a boxing scoring system that has not been adapted to MMA yet. So they need to all come together. All of the different commissions that are out there come together, agree to a unified code that they can use to judge these events. Because in my opinion, man, maybe it's politics. I don't know. Maybe there was some mobsters sitting in the crowd and they gave him a wink, gave
Oh
him a
yeah.
wink and said, "Listen, if you don't let John Jones win, we're gonna shoot you." And I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just talking, right? Who cares?
That may be a little bit dramatized, but dude, you got to think about it. The money, the promotion, John's name,
I'm just
all
saying,
this.
all the
Yeah,
money, all that money.
I honestly think UFC likes having John at the top. I think they like that storyline.
Brings
You know,
that
and
money in.
if it's exactly, dude, if it's not a clear cut knockout, if
Yeah.
it was going to come down to that, it probably is going to be John every single time. It doesn't matter who it is.
I want to see
Because
him
they
fight
like that
Tiago.
story.
I want to see
I want
Tiago.
I want that so bad. I want Tiago and John again. I don't know how Tiago's knees are holding up right now.
Yeah.
But I want that fight again so bad.
Me too, definitely. All right, so that's UFC 247. I kind of want to just check real quick. There was another fight tonight, and I want to kind of get through this one and then what's going to be happening next week. Real quick. We spent a lot of time because that controversy. I feel like you got to talk about it. Blazkowicz, he won. Blazkowicz won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he beat Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson was like talking all this smack about, how he was going to be fighting for the belt next and he was going to be fighting John Jones next and all this stuff. And, well, that's not what happened. So I guess.
Who did he knock out last time? What was his, was it,
Blazkowicz?
Corey Anderson.
He knocked out, well, he didn't really, did he knock him out? It was a TKO against Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker TKO, yeah.
And Johnny Walker was like this big up and coming name,
It was super unexpected. And Corey Anderson came out there and kind of shut it down.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people were talking about Corey Anderson, like you said, being kind of the underdog and kind of, I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but basically the guy that people aren't paying attention to, but is definitely somebody to watch out for. I'm surprised. I kind of want to watch that back. Did it go 3 rounds?
I'm trying to find that right now, but I'm not really
looking at it
seeing
right now.
it.
It was a KO in round 1, 3 minutes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I can show this video on this. We're going to show it anyway.
Hopefully we don't get pulled off of YouTube on our first video.
No, okay. Yeah, good point. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't do this actually. Okay. Put that sucker in reverse. But
yeah.
I'm going to oh, jeez. Oh, I can't show it. Wow. Okay. All right, moving on. What
was it? I didn't see it.
It was a knockout. It was a knockout. It wasn't too bad, but it was clear. Yeah, he knocked him on his butt. So, okay, well, I guess Corey Anderson's not in the run for the title anymore. I mean, who they got to give it to next, right? I would like to see Tiago. I would like to see a rematch with Dominic Reyes. I think that's where it's going to be. Do you see John Jones? Do you see John Jones moving up to heavyweight?
I was literally about to say, if it's not a rematch between either Dominic and both Dominic and John barely took any damage in that fight. I feel like, if at least they didn't wear it, they didn't wear the damage.
Not in the fight.
Not in the fight. So unless there was something that we just didn't see, they could definitely be back in the ring or back in the octagon in in 6-8 months, whatever. But Tiago's probably still rehabbing, man. His knees were completely shredded.
Yep.
But if he healed up, I think I'd rather see the Tiago John Jones rematch, because if it weren't for those knee injuries, man, I think John would have been in trouble.
I think so too.
But I also do want to see that Reyes John Jones fight again, because it was just too close this time. It was too much up for decision. And I bet you if they run it back again, Dominic's going to come out full blast in the first couple of rounds. And he's going to try to get that clear, which might be to John's advantage, because John might be expecting that, and he might just back up and let him burn himself out, and then take it again to the rounds 4 and 5. He's not in it for the knockout, man. He's in it for the long haul.
Yep. Anytime John Jones has had to fight somebody a second time, he's always done it better. Yeah. So it's like if you can't beat him the first time, then
look at Gustafsson, man.
Exactly. Look at Cormier. Cormier, the first fight went to a decision. The second one was a knockout. You know. So yeah. All right, I think let's move on, right? That speed round was a speed round. We got our topics out there. So tell me, you were talking a little bit earlier about this MWC event. So tell me, what is this?
Yeah, so for you guys who follow tech, you've definitely heard of MWC, Mobile World Congress. It's an event that's held every year in Barcelona, Spain, where all these tech companies come together, and it's basically a giant tech event where they make a bunch of mobile related announcements, as you might guess from the name. Some companies who don't hold bigger keynotes, like Samsung holds their like unpacked events, Apple holds their events and things like that to announce their new phones. But a lot of companies don't use that same platform. They use MWC to put out the announcements of their new phones, new softwares, things like that. And you've got some other companies like IBM who aren't quite consumer facing, who also show up. Facebook shows up usually. Sometimes they talk about, mobile VR and mobile apps and things like that. But this year, thanks to our good buddy, the coronavirus, which thankfully hasn't impacted the US quite so bad so far, there was a ton of companies already just dropping out. Like I think Facebook, Intel, Nvidia, LG, Sony, Sprint, all these guys are already dropping out just for fear of like, hey man, we don't want to be traveling. I mean, they don't want to send their executives into planes into different countries and risk the chance of them getting exposed to coronavirus, obviously.
Yeah.
And because I'm assuming that a lot of these companies, obviously China is impacted the most by the coronavirus. Some of these have probably executives from China, I would think, come flying in. And so they basically, GSMA is the one who puts on the conference. They just went ahead and canceled it. They're like, look, all these people are dropping out. We need to protect, the event, people coming to the event, and Barcelona itself, just from the threat of the coronavirus, and they just canceled it altogether. So I mean, this is kind of a big deal.
That's terrible
for the tech industry, as you might imagine, because like I said, these companies were probably counting on this event to announce all their upcoming gear. And so now the question is, what are they going to do now? So, will we see some additional, keynote presentations and things like that held independently of the conference is yet to be determined. So we'll kind of see how that plays out.
Wow, that's terrible, man. This coronavirus is really messing things up because, that's kind of playing to the stock market and everything. It's going to play into the world economy, global GDP and all that stuff. So,
yeah,
I think
it's crazy, man.
I think we're probably definitely going to see a drop in the stock market coming here soon. I don't want to get too far into that, but anytime there's these big events like this, especially when it's affecting one of the world's, it's like the top manufacturing country in the world, right? And it's messing all this. It's gonna affect the economy. So, get ready for some interesting times. Let's see how bad it gets. Hopefully, it won't get too bad. Maybe it won't get bad at all if you're thinking positively. But
let's be optimistic.
Yeah, let's be optimistic. There was CES earlier this year, though, so at least in Vegas they had the CES event where you got to see a whole bunch of different tech. But it sounds like this Mobile World Conference is just it's a bit bigger than CES, and it's a global scale too. So
yeah, and I mean, and one thing about CES is it's gotten worse over the years. It's more vaporware than anything, which what that means is basically these companies come and show off this crazy technology that's never going to make it to the consumer market. I mean, this year, I think it was Sony put out this crazy concept car that had like one passenger seat in the middle of the cockpit and all these like insane tech functionalities. And it was a couple of manufacturers that did similar things, and those things are never going to make it to consumers.
Well, I think people are just going there to try and sell ideas, right? So they're trying to sell ideas, and they're small fish trying to get, eaten up by the big fish. And that's what that's all about. They're trying to get, some notoriety. Yeah, some notoriety. That's the word I'm looking for. And get bought up, and maybe when they get bought up by another company, that company with the capital, because these smaller companies don't have the capital to get things done, right? They have the great ideas, but they need capital, and they need somebody to own them so that they can take those next steps. But anyway, exactly. That's terrible that this coronavirus is just messing things up like this, man. I can't wait for it to end, but
I mean, the impact of that is it's far reaching, man. I mean, just think about, again, going back to I do freelance writing for a Android authority. Mobile World Congress is probably one of their biggest traffic weeks, and for a lot of the tech blogs and things like that, huge traffic because the amount of articles and stuff they're pushing out about all these announcements. what's that do for ad revenue? You know, what's that do for visitors and subscribers and all that sort of thing. So the effects of that are definitely far reaching.
Yeah, you would think that somebody might take the opportunity of this to in next quarter hold a different event, maybe not Mobile World Conference, but hold it somewhere else where you're bringing in. That's probably not going to help the issue, because I know that at my company all travel's been halted until after April. You
Oh,
know,
wow, really?
yeah, and we're a large enterprise company. You know, we bring in millions and
Yeah.
millions of dollars every month, and
Ooh.
we're basically saying don't send any of our sales reps out because it's too risky. It's too
Yeah,
risky.
man. That's
So
lost money.
yeah, that's scary. That's scary. So, I just want to talk about leadership real quick, just to wrap things up. So I'm a leader in my company, and I've gone through multiple different types of leadership training courses. So I just wanted to say a couple words to leave us off, give you guys something to think about over the next week, and think about how you can be a leader in your group. So basically, I'm just saying, if you're struggling in anything in your life right now, it's okay. Don't get down on yourself. Everything's gonna be okay. And I want you to think of it as, instead of it getting down on yourself and thinking of it as something bad, think of it like this. Think of it as an opportunity for you to improve something in your life, right? Take it and say, okay, this really sucks right now. Go watch a YouTube video, read a book, read something on that subject that's giving you some adversity right now, and figure out what you can do to change that, right? And so everyone should be doing this on a daily basis. I do it. I deal with all kinds of stuff it's not fun, it's not nice. I deal with people management. I deal with managing myself, and every day's different. It's not easy. So, and to take that a step forward, right? If you can take something that's you're struggling with today, and you can learn it in and out, and you can fix yourself or fix whatever it is, the next step then is to try and get better at it than someone else, basically. And eventually you evolve into a leader. If you can get better at it than other people, then you can show other people how to be good at it as well. So you can take those things that you learned, you can turn them around, and you can teach them to your peers.
Yeah.
You can teach them to anyone in your life. And then
Yeah, sure.
and then you're just not making yourself better, but you're leading other people and leading them to be better. So that's all I wanted to say, just real quick, just to end us off here. Just,
It's a nice feel good message.
if you're dealing with anything, just figure it out as best you can. And yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we've all got our personal struggles and professional struggles, so keep on keeping on, man. As Joe Dirt once said, yeah, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Professional, and if you keep on, you keep trying hard enough at it, man, you will persevere. And that's exactly how you've moved up in your position, and how I've moved up in my position at work. Just keep on.
Yeah,
you got to give it your best, man. You got to put yourself out there. That's one thing I've learned for sure, is if you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to get what you want.
absolutely.
You can't sit back and wait for something to be handed to you. You got to go out there and get it.
Nope. I mean, if you're comfortable where you are, that's fine. But if you're not happy with where you are, and you're ambitious and you want to make some change, you got to work for it. You got to work for it. You got to recognize that unhappiness, pinpoint it, and start making micro adjustments in your life to get to where you need to be.
Yes.
And I'm just talking from experience. It's
for sure.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Oh, whoa.
I don't even like Drake, but
Just
the quote applies, so I'm stealing it. Yeah, we're gonna take that. But
nice.
Yeah, man. Anything else?
I think that about covers it, man. We've gone about an hour and a half, which I think is where we ended about last week. So I think this is a good amount. I think we should go ahead and wrap it up. And for our YouTube audience, and for those of you guys listening at home or on the phone, or not, sorry, on your phones at home, we don't listen on the phone, or in your car. We're going to go ahead and cut it off here. But for our folks here that are listening live on Twitch, we're going to keep you guys around. So let's say goodbye to our YouTube people and our podcast app listeners. We'll see you guys next week.
But do come check us out on Twitch.
Yeah.
We're going to be streaming weekly on Fridays. Trying to start around 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock, but we're trying to get our schedule pinpointed and set in stone. So, but come check us out if you're interested.
Give us a follow so you get a notification when we start up.
Yeah, absolutely. Come check us out. We're nice people.
All right, so
We don't
So
bite.
bye to you guys.
Bye,
See ya.
guys. Bye.
And for our folks here on Twitch, if there's any questions out there, anything you want to contribute to the conversation, I know we had some chats along the way. My man Clifton, my man Toby, participate in the chat a little bit. But if you guys got any other questions or anything about all the tech stuff we talked about, or UFC, I know Toby, you're all about UFC, man. So anything to contribute, feel free to put it out there.
Yeah, guys, let us know. And we're gonna be posting these videos on YouTube and AJ, I think you're putting them on like 5 different podcast sites also?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact number is, but we're definitely using a distribution platform who will send it out to like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the major ones, Pocket Cast, one I use most frequently, all those major podcast platforms.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can always say that we appreciate everybody's support. We're trying to grow this. This is our second time. We're learning. We're going to go back and we're going to study the film. We're going to study the tape just like football players and learn what we can do better, maybe things that we excelled at, maybe things that we didn't excel at. I did just see that McWallace 420 just followed. So McWallace, thanks, man. Appreciate that follow. Shout outs to, I think you already said Tobias and you already said Clifton. So that's fantastic. So it's good to see people that are stopping by and hanging out. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're having a great weekend, great night. Hopefully our podcast was interesting for you.
Entertaining, or at least a little bit entertaining.
Maybe a little bit. A little bit, but yeah, we're just trying to get things going right now. It's in its infancy, but I think we have a good thing going here, and it's just gonna keep getting better. We got to add some more transitions. We got to add some more screens. Like right now, like there's probably something that we could have on this screen right now that just says like, hey, if you guys have any questions, we'll address it at the end.
Yeah,
like that's
and also. Why is there a gray bar in my face? Get this gray bar off my face.
I don't see a gray bar on your face on my side.
If you look at the stream, what is this gray bar? Somebody, please. Oh, wait. It looks like I can move it around in Twitch. What is this thing?
Yeah.
Why is there a floating gray bar that I can move around? Does anybody know what this is?
I'm not seeing it, though. Hold on. Let me look.
Is it? What is this? Background color.
Oh.
Opacity. What is this thing? Oh, so if you open up this little background.
Closed captions.
Is that what it is?
Oh, it is closed captions. Yeah, you can just move it. Yeah, I added this.
Oh, okay.
I added this. It's not working right now.
Yeah, it wasn't working. It was just a gray thing the whole time. Thanks, Mick Wallace, for the closed caption thing. Now I can't figure out how to get rid of this closed caption setting window. Okay, there it is. You have to click the little guy.
It won't show on the recording that I just captured.
That's good.
But I do want to get it so that it is actually capturing what we're saying. I do want to have closed captions, so yeah.
That's true.
We're gonna do some testing.
If you want to watch, I think YouTube does it though. I think once we upload this to YouTube, I think it automatically captions it.
But for
people who.
But for Twitch also, right? So if anyone there's people that are hearing impaired on Twitch that.
That's true.
They want to be able to read it. So that's what I was trying to do. I guess. I thought it was just going to work, and I got to do some troubleshooting. It seems to work pretty good on other channels. Yeah, I guess I need to find somebody that it's working well for and figure out what they did.
Right.
Because it's just an extension that you add. But yeah, that's it for me.
Add to the to-do list.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff, man. Thank you so much, Mick Wallace. Appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it if you guys don't have anything else. Thank you so much.
Are you streaming tonight, Reese?
I don't know. I got to go talk to my wife. But I might hop on Warframe if you want to play some Warframe for a little bit.
I'm down for some Warframe. But yeah, you guys in Twitch, Mick Wallace, Toby, Clifton, anybody else who's just lurk on, like you said last week, Reese.
Lurk on.
But come back, see us next week. Yep. We'll have more fun stuff to talk about.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Enjoy your night. Thanks for the podcast. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mick Wallace. Enjoy your night, sir.
Adios, man.